How's the training of the new dog? Have you ever heard yourself say something like, man, my last dog learned this so much faster? Or, my last dog, Lily, she knew how to leave my shoes alone. Or something about, you know, my last dog knew how to go outside to go poo and pee. How come this dog doesn't know how to do that? Well, we've all been there. We all have these memories of our past dog, but most likely you've forgotten the first months or even the first year with your last pup. And you've forgotten the amount of work that you may have put in training your last dog and the memories of those frustrating days. So let me ask you, just delve into your memories. But with your last pup, how many rugs did they ruin? Or which rooms did they go into to chew up the furniture? Did they chew up your favorite shoes? How about jumping on people? Did they knock someone over? Oh, possibly. You put your nice outfit on and they come in from the outside and jump on you and put these paw prints on you. Oh my gosh. So, think about it. Most likely the first couple of years with your last dog, it may not have been those joyful memories that you think you have, but what you're remembering is the last several years that you had with them, and you're missing them. And so you're comparing your current dog to the past dog. So does that make sense? Is it jarring memories of what you went through with the first dog? And also think of this. That was probably at least 10 to 15 years ago. And you're not that young person that you used to be. Or you may be having a busier life, right? Maybe you have a new family, or maybe the job is taking in so much more time. So it could be harder with the newer dog. But you miss having a dog. So you got the new either puppy or a new mature dog. Either way, don't let the memories of what you thought, how training your last dog was, influence how you see your new dog. Now, in some cases, I'm going to share a funny story. I've had this happen a couple of times. In some cases, the family realized that the past dog was not necessarily trained by the whole family, maybe by one of the adult like parent that was training the dog, not necessarily both of them. And now they're retired, and the person who didn't train the dog didn't understand what went into possibly training the last dog, and so seems to think, well, why is this new dog so hard? But either way, whether you are not the person who trained the last dog and don't have the skill set yet, or, you did train and work with the last dog, but, your memory is a little bit foggy and you're remembering the good times with your pup, and you've forgotten the harder times. Oh, just like women who go through labor, that's what they say. So either way, whether you were the past trainer or you are kind of rusty in these skills, I want to share with you that in order to be successful this round, I highly recommend that you hone in these particular skills. So First of all, get to know your new dog. I call this observation skills, but basically, knowing, like, for example, what are possibly things that worry them or scare them? What are their favorite kind of treats or toys that you can use as rewards, as reinforcement during your training? Get to know the dog and not just compare them to the past dog. Now, in regards to training skills, between you and your partner or other family members, you may have to learn how to actually do the mechanics of the training. Or if you've done it before, maybe, it's kind of a little bit rusty, so you need to hone in those skills. So you can learn how to communicate what you want, your current dog to learn. And of course, the third skill set is consistent implementation. Now, that takes, organization, maybe creating a schedule amongst you, if yourself, or with other family members. Now, I'm going to say that if you don't have all three of these skills in play, you're probably not going to see the success that you want. Because if you, get to know your dog, and you actually hone in your training skills, but it's not consistent in training them, you're going to have some stalling in the training. Now, if you have the training skills down and you're being consistent, but if you don't really get to know your dog, you know what? You're going to miss what may be maybe preventing them from understanding you, maybe preventing or understanding the cause of some of their behaviors, so you can work on the right training mechanics to teach them. For example, if they are a barky dog and you're trying to train them to bark less when someone comes to the door or when someone comes in the house or on your walks, if you don't understand that they may be barking because they're a little bit worried about what's going on in their environment, you may be using the wrong kind of training to get them to reduce the barking. For example, you may be, I'm sorry, but I don't want you to do this, but, you may be like shaking a can of coins or something, a loud noise to get them to stop barking. In reality, you're just shutting them down. You're not understanding and addressing the real issue that will help actually stop the barking. And then if, you have the consistency and you get to know the dog, if, you don't actually train them, you're going to be frustrated, both sides, because they're not going to understand what you're asking them to do. And you're going to be frustrated because they're not learning, they're not doing the sits or coming back to you because you're not actually doing the skills, doing the mechanics, training them how to do these things. So you really need to be working on all three of these in order to have the successful training that you had with your last dog. So now that you know that not only is that your memory may be falsely, telling you that you had a different kind of dog in the beginning, before, and now that you know that you do have to actually put in the work to work with them, it's going to be simple, but some of it may be not so easy to do, but the job is not that hard. So if you don't put in the time now, I'm betting you're going to be looking for me again in 3 months or another trainer in order to resolve the behaviors that are still happening. For example, maybe jumping on people, barking, not coming back to you. any of those, right? Or not even walking nicely on leash with you and pulling you around. So now that you understand that, it's not something that they can like pick up on their own, train themselves to live in our world, but that you have to put in the time and effort, you really want to start the training now to change maybe these undesired behaviors, train them to come back to you, train to sit and down and stay, rather than coming back later when the undesired behaviors are maybe ingrained. It may take longer to reverse and train the new behaviors you want. So I want to share with you in the comments or in the text that's going to be included with this video, my contact information. So we can talk about the type of program that would work for you and your family. And you know what? You may be worried that it may take a lot of time, or that it may be too costly for you. But in reality, if you don't work and invest in training your dog now, I mean, why did you bring home a new dog? Because you want a new companion that's well behaved. So if you don't put in the time, the money, investing your your relationship, building that relationship with your pup, then it's just going to be harder down the line. So it's like short periods of time that you work with them, except for the potty training. You do have to be pretty consistent with the potty training in the beginning. Even now, I just recently worked with an older gentleman who brought him a 10-year-old dog. And within like 3 weeks or so, she's pretty much potty training, eliminating in the right place in the backyard, actually the side of the yard. We have a place for her to go. So it's just consistency, putting in the time to work with your dog and getting to know them. So contact me. I will add my information. I'll add my telephone number as well as a link to the page with my different programs. But you can do it. I've taught hundreds and hundreds of humans with their dogs to be able to do this, whether they are first-time dog owners or secondary or third or even the fourth dog they've had. And so just check out the link and I will see you soon. So thank you for joining me for my Training Tip Tuesday. And before I leave, I don't think I introduced myself. So my name is Linda Kwan, and I am the owner and trainer at Wow Bow Wow. I specialize in helping pup parents with companion dogs, training them to be well behaved, family companion dogs. And I help people who bring home a puppy, 2 to 4 month old, up to even the mature dogs, the rescue dogs. Like I mentioned, recently I started working with a 10-year-old dog. And so I've also worked with adolescent dogs. And many of you come to me because you've tried working with your dogs, and by the time they're reached like 4 or 5 months old or 6 months old, you're struggling and you haven't gotten that far. And so I will help you, help you be accountable, help you learn the skill sets, help you understand your dog so you will succeed. All right. Thank you for joining me for my Training Tip Tuesday, and I will see you next Tuesday.